Okay, so I want to do a video on using Mantis LOD Editor to decimate character creator model. I've already combined the mesh and I've added the Mantis LOD Editor component just through add component. There's something possibly to be said for doing this on a per submesh basis and not actually doing it on the combined mesh, but for me, for now, this will do. I just want to kind of detail the process. One of the things that has been added recently is the ability to paint a vertex map on the object, so that you can say, I want, say for example, more detail retained in the face while still decimating the rest of the body, which is really useful. So that's probably the thing that I'm going to focus on most today. To do that, it doesn't come with a mesh painter, with a vertex painter I should say. So I'm using Mesh Online's SimpleVertexPainter, which is free, available on GitHub. Just import the package. There's a slight issue with it. I don't think the shader it uses is great, because it's unshaded. So once you turn it on, it becomes really hard to see what you're painting. So I've just changed the Vertex color shader to this one. Again, it's a freebie from GitHub, and I'll show you how that's done. So essentially you have to go into the SimpleVertexPainter shader, open that in whatever you use, Visual Studio or Studio Code, and just literally copy and paste the code from here. So that's just overwriting what comes from there, and go inside the editor, I think so. No. Runtime shader, VertexColor.shader. So you see it's slightly different shader. Yeah, I mean, I know nothing about shaders, but if you use that one instead of this one, you'll get no shading, no kind of shadows, which will make sense once I actually do what we need to do. So Tools, SimpleVertexPainter. I guess I can just slot it in here and just select the mesh, the skin mesh, press add, and you can see it does this kind of, it just adds its object. If this is not open, then you just click on Launch Vertex Painter and it'll open it up. So you have to click on paint mode to turn it on, and choose the color. So it's the red that Mantis LOD Editor is going to look for. So I need to make that quite a lot smaller. I find the slider's really right at the end of yeah. It's kind of easier just to paint. As soon as you start painting, you can see the whole thing goes black. Now if you didn't have the shading, you wouldn't actually see the nose or the eyes, you just see this red blob, which makes it really tricky to work out what's going on. And essentially that's why I want to keep, but you can still, you know, move around. Just want to keep the face. I'm not gonna, looks good. And the other bit that I tend to keep are the end of the fingers, so otherwise they get all broken up quite quickly. just make sure all the undersides are done as well. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, that should be okay. And that's all good. Maybe do it a little bit more. Okay. So one of the reasons I'm not doing the hair, right, so we're done. Just come out of paint mode. One of the reasons I'm not doing the hair is that I found that Mantis LOD Editor, so you can actually, once you're done with that, let me close this, you can just get rid of it. And if you're worried and you think, oh, you know, I thought, you know, is it still there? You can just create a vertex preview material from that. Just so that's the wrong one. Let's choose skin. That'll be the one. You're just gonna. You can literally just slot it in. You can see that colouring is all done. And you can then, like, you know, it is also on the eyes. So undo, undo. So just in case you're worried, actually, is that, so it's just essentially it's data in the vertices, in the mesh that's been added on the red channel, because we were painting in pure red. So one of the reasons I didn't bother and do the hair is because it seems from my use of it that the Mantis LOD Editor decimation ignores like super. I'm assuming that's what's going on. It's ignoring any parts that are like really low in triangles, and actually these hair cards are. So it's almost as if it thinks it's so low that it's not. I can't take any more out of the cards. It doesn't seem to affect the hair, or certainly that's been my experience with other models. Let's find out with this one. Now you do have to mess around with these. So the higher LODs, you probably want more details. Protect geometry, possibly sometimes. Obviously read through, it's kind of saying you're going to get better decimation if you don't tick all of these on. Beautiful triangles, again, check, generate better looking triangles, but you're not going to get as good decimation. The important one, because of the vertex painting we've just done, is use detail map. And there's no real, as far as I remember, no guidance in the documentation as to what that setting is, but I tend to have it pretty high, like I go 50 or sometimes even 100, and then you just kind of slide the, you know, and as you can see the hair's kind of being decimated a bit, but not hugely. I might actually paint something in the hair, don't know, but anyway, we're at kind of 54. We've gone down from 41 triangles down to 21 triangles, and I do find that the quality of the decimation just depends really on the quality of the mesh going in. So if it's good topology going originally, then it kind of decimates down in a better way, but sometimes these character creator meshes on the best, and they kind of break apart quite quickly. So it's good for, by break apart I mean like holes and stuff like that, but I think it's fine for, you know, kind of far away LODs. You could, like for a really far away one, you could get away with. The problem is these poke throughs do end up like catching your attention, and that's kind of becomes the problem of this technique of using an automated tool, that it it's kind of close but not quite good enough sometimes, and well, I'm just gonna go with that for certainly a LOD. Actually, so I'm doing a really low LOD, but I've got all these things ticked, so I should do the higher LOD first. So I'm going from 41 to, still looks pretty good to me. Now you can, so I'm at 85, I'm getting 34. Make changes to these. So for example, what happens if I don't have beautiful triangles? Now the problem is, having done that, it always resets back to the beginning, which is kind of annoying. I kind of wish it would stay, but still. So at 85, well, it was 84, so just to compare, it's about 35. That's about the same, to be honest. But I think the changes become more apparent as you go down. You get probably better. Yeah, so at 12, slight problem here in that. But I don't know if, yeah. So I found for the very low ones, protect boundary doesn't always help. No, but by the very low, I mean that would be a LOD 3, you know, just kind of at a distance of 5k. That would work fine. Okay, so let's see what we can get. Definitely more detail because I want, and I'm going to keep just catching it before the air gets. I should maybe paint the ears actually, because I think that's going to be quite noticeable. So I'm going to do that. So to turn it off, you just click in the scene view to remove the thing. Right, let's go back and just kind of do a bit more painting. So select the skin mesh, yeah, we got it already. Paint mode. This is where it gets really, that blackness makes it really tricky. It's not until you start painting that you realise. Now a trick, go into either like wireframe, so I can now see, and obviously make sure that you're in your red. It's going to do that. Where's it go? I'm just making sure that that's where I think it is. I think that's right. And do the other side. Wireframe. Hopefully that will help. So let's go back to here. I'll use the detail map. Yeah, that's much better. So you can see now the ears remaining kind of more like ears. So that's going to be a pretty good LOD. 2 or something, so 35. And sometimes I do a few. That's not bad for down to 13k from 41. So I think that's probably worth just the extra 2 to not have that hole on there. Actually, 39.8. It's interesting that gives me a better result. Don't know why. Maybe take that off 39. You can start seeing why it would be good if that just stayed in its place. Yeah. So what I was keeping an eye out was that poke through on the arm. That's a pretty good lowish poly, so 19. Yeah, I'm going to keep that. That'll be a LOD 2 probably. Look at this. So what you do is you save the current mesh. I have not used the save progressive meshes. I think it would essentially create lots of different ones based on this log count, but I've not used this functionality. I'm just manually making my own. So that's the one. Then I tend to make a folder for the LODs, and it's pretty useful. It'll save out the quality so you can go back and try. The problem is it's only the quality setting. It doesn't actually tell you what you were set on here. And the one thing I tend to add is it's 19k. Okay. Not sure what LOD that will be, but I reckon LOD 2. Okay, so we've done one. Give it a chance to save. I think that's done. Oh, didn't mean to. So yeah, that is annoying the way that always resets. That's 30. What I'm looking for is now is a potential LOD 0 based on like it does affect the normals, I think it is, and the edges, sadly. And analyze, protect hard edges. Yeah, minimally, actually, yeah. More details, let's try that. I just have to have dirty nails, I think. So obviously this is not going to be as good as doing proper retopology in a 3D package like Blender. If that's what you want, you really should do it manually. Okay. I think I'm getting better results without that on. And see what the results are. So you can see it's keeping that high because of this. Now what happens if I go off? Yeah, it starts to get really weird, that topology, and actually even in the face that's not so. The problem is things like around the knees and around the mouth, if you're going to want to then do facial animation. So for my use case, I definitely want to keep it, certainly for the closer LODs. That's pretty good. I'm down to 24K. Check for holes, obviously. I'll do for. Looks pretty good, apart from maybe like I can see there's kind of a weird shadow thing happening on the side there. So at that stage, I sometimes just go like up in tiny increments, in case I can get rid of it. So it seems to happen at around 61. $60. 5, 4, 3. So 4. That's probably as good as I can get. But yep, we're down from 41,000 to 24,000, so that's not bad. Okay, save current. Four. Just gonna grab that. So 25. Just gonna see whether it makes any. Yeah, so just clicking on that more detail, mind you, it's it seems smoother this way. More detail. Yeah, it's tricky. It's, you know, so undo that because I'm now getting into the more double check what we have. So we've got 24, 19. Let's try symmetry on that so it doesn't go I'm looking for a low, like, yeah, 5, so far, very far LOD. Kind of wish I could get rid of that. Let's try to protect LOD edges. Oh, I thought, ooh, that's good, but no. I'll go the other direction. No. So definitely protect boundaries, doesn't allow us to get oh, so for a far LOD I don't want the detail map because I'm happy for the face to get a bit mashed up. Maybe that will help. Actually, so that's a really good far LOD at 725. It's pretty impressive. So good for feed day. Wow, good for a crowd. Super far away, so you don't have to like that. That would be completely. I'll save that because it's worth having. That's glamour and saved. So 725. That's pretty amazing. 725. That'd be 5, I guess, just to be specific. But let's go back to that'll be 11. Okay. What I like about it is I'm not getting any holes or poking of the skin through the so 30.1 and 11. Okay, so that'll do. I mean, you can keep going. And next, Control D. I'll rename that loaded, unpack, like that. Create empty child, whack that in there. Now, something worth bearing in mind is you're changing the path to your mesh. So in your animation, you'll need to compensate for that. Let me do these first and then I'll explain what I mean. So Control D. Add the LOD group. So LOD group 1 is that. Select, that'll be this, and guess my 24. And the 19K. The 11K. So 1 0. Oh, you've done that already. Yeah, do. LOD 2. So right click, insert before. Okay. LOD 3. LOD 2. And then it is just a case of adjusting things, but bear in mind that if you've got your LOD bias set in, where is it? Project settings, quality, that will affect how these get interpreted. And you can also set a maximum LOD bias, so if you wanted to never hit LOD 0 but only use LOD 1, then enter 1 in here. Okay. So yeah, that's good, not too much popping. Now you can use crossfading. You need to add crossfade to your shaders, but I'm working in VR and often mobile VR, and the problem with crossfading is at the intersection between two LODs, what you end up with is essentially twice. Let's see if I can actually I need to go into play mode. You end up with twice the verts. So okay, so if you keep an eye on 59, then we've jumped to 96 once we've hit the close. Should actually be a bit closer than that. So that jump between 59 and 96 is essentially immediate. If you go into crossfade, in virtual reality with your, it's not actually doing it on without the faders, without the shader that allows the crossfading, but what happens is you end up with twice the verts. You end up with the vert of the first model and the vert of the next model, so it's additive. You've got on just that intersection, you've essentially got two sets of models, two models over on top of each other. It's the materials that are crossfading, and so if you're vertex bound, which I often am in mobile VR, then it's a false economy doing the nice kind of crossfading, because you're maxing out verts, and I found that was dropping me frames. Okay, I mean that's the pretty much that's the culling. Or is it? Doesn't look right. Okay. Just double checking. It's just essentially that's still too high a value, really. 31. 31 to 47, that's like 59, 96. So I think essentially that should happen a little bit later. One of these is probably overkill. I'll probably go with a low one. Okay, let's lose that. Delete. Are you sure? Yeah, go on. Either cull or use the stupidly what's this? What's that? Yeah, I'm messing around in runtime, which is kind of asking for trouble, but copy component, stop, paste component values, and I'm going to do delete that, rename it LOD2, duplicate, call that LOD3, and just give it a really super low, what was it, 725. Actually make like a proper benefit. Okay, let's try again. So 96, we're close. Full kind of low. I would expect it to kind of drop around here. Yes, the resolution is pretty low on that lot too. Should it be? Yeah, just it's a balance, you know. Well, I'll have to probably mess around with it in game, and then I reckon that can kick in a bit earlier. Yeah, that's fine. Fine. Copy component, come out, paste. Okay. I hope that's useful. We've taken our kind of the basic combined, where is she? Character, and just lodded her. Create prefab. So that about wraps it up for Mantis LOD Editor. As I mentioned, it's in a bundle at the moment on the asset store, so I would say probably worth buying that and another asset which I'll do a quick demo of, called Technique Collider Creator. Just the two of them for the price of the bundle. I think it's about €30. Just makes it worth it, and everything else that you get is a kind of a bonus. So that's about it. Thanks a lot.